Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon TCG Pocket video here on iStarly TV. We've got a brand new ranked season and of course we have brand new cards with the new set, and I wanted to try out a brand new deck. I also wanted to try something that I don't think too many people are talking about. You know, now that the set has been out for a couple days at this point and ranked has been out for, I don't know, several hours I guess. You know, people are kind of starting to talk about what they think is good, and you know, front runners for strong decks are starting to emerge, so I wanted to build something that felt fresh. I will be honest, a few of the decks that I really wanted to build and showcase in this video were basically like old decks that just have a couple new cards in them, which they felt fun, but also I just wanted to try something completely new. So here we have this Poison Ultra Beast deck. So the main card here is Nihilego, which of course has a really strong ability that adds extra damage to poisoned enemies, and its attack New Wave can also poison the enemy. And then we have Naganadel, which can also poison the enemy. So the two of these work really well together. Because they're both Ultra Beasts, I felt like Celesteela is also really good. I think Celesteela is getting a lot of hype right now because it's really good with Buzzwole, and Buzzwole's actually really strong. And Celesteela is also great. I also opened a couple of the full art Celesteelas, which I think the artwork is really sick. I think it looks really kind of creepy. So I figured since I'm opening a couple of these, or since I own a couple of these, I might as well play them in a deck, right? And then I also have opened one copy of Guzzlord EX, which I figured once again I might as well play that as well. So yeah, a bunch of really cool things going on here. As for the rest of the deck, you know, everything looks pretty self-explanatory. We have one copy of Poison Barb because, of course, it complements Nihilego's ability to deal extra damage with poison. We also have one copy of Lusamine, which is really good with particularly Celesteela and Guzzlord because they both require extra energy. So this, I think as a one-of, this is a fine card to play in this deck. Guzma also seems good because there's a lot of new tool cards and there's just some really good tool cards overall. Also, I've seen people talk a lot about the electric tool card. I think it's called Electric Cord. So if there's an electric deck that we face, Guzma is going to be very good. And then finally, one of the new cards is Beastite here, which is a tool card. This is a strong one. If you're playing Ultra Beasts, this just scales with the game. So if we can get an early prize, this can start doing additional damage. The one downside to this card with our deck is we're not doing a lot of like burst damage. We're not really doing like a massive chunk of damage in one turn. We're really kind of looking to kind of chip away at them with our poison. And of course, Naganadel and Nihilego, which are probably our most reliable sources of early damage, they only do 40 damage and 30 respectively. So of course, Celesteela is capable of doing 100. Guzzlord's capable of doing 120, but I guess every little bit helps with the Beastite. So if we can get the Beastite going, well, I guess the point I'm making with Beastite and why I'm saying it might not be that great is because we might not get prizes really quickly in the game. So we might have the Beastite rotting away in our hand while we have 0 points. So it's going to be doing nothing at that point. So anyway, let's try this deck out. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, let's get to some games. Sorry, here is the deck at a glance. We are also in a new ranked season now. I did drop a little bit in ranked. I lost a couple games last night when I started playing, just trying out new things. I built a brand new deck with new cards, not this deck, and I went on a little bit of a losing streak. I guess it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I'll just tell you right now, I titled that deck Dogs, so I don't know, maybe that'll tell you right there how bad it is. Aside from that, I also didn't really get that far in rank last season. I didn't really end up having enough time to play as much. So either way, my point is my rank is not amazing right now, but let's hope that we can climb up. Okay. I think I'm just going to lead Guzzlord. That might be a mistake. We do have a bunch of basics. That's the really nice thing about this deck is that most of our Pokemon are basics. Of course, we have Naganadel in our deck and in our hand, which is, you know, not a basic, but hopefully we can kind of play that. I'm thinking, I'm recording right now, so I can't really go back at the moment, but I hope that I have copies of Poipole in the deck. Anyway, let's go ahead and put an energy on Guzzlord, and let's go ahead and research. Guzzlord, of course, can start doing damage next turn, and it can be extremely powerful if my opponent starts putting energy on their Pokemon. If we flip some heads with Guzzlord, there's a Poiple. If we flip some heads with Guzzlord, you know, we can really set my opponent back. So let's put a Poison Barb there and go ahead and pass. Of course, actually, I just realized that was kind of a mistake on my, at least putting the double Celesteela. I mean, I guess at the moment I did not have Poison Barb in my hand, but if I did have Poison Barb or Nihilego, I would not have played double Celesteela there, because, of course, if my opponent... Yeah, there's the Nihilego. Okay, so that's kind of awkward. If my opponent attacks me... Actually, let's do this. This is actually really strong. So, you know what? Celesteela is... Sorry, let me finish that first thought. If my opponent attacks me, they would get poisoned, and then Nihilego would rack up a lot of damage, but unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. Let's go ahead and put in a cape here, and... It's only going to be doing 10 damage. Yeah, I mean, again, I feel a little awkward the fact that I could have been doing even more damage with this Nihilego. I guess on the upside, we are going to be able to knock out the Geodude next turn, and then they're going to have to go into their Graveler there. Importantly, Naganadel is weak to fighting, whereas Guzzlord is weak to grass, so we do have some Pokemon in our deck that are weak to fighting, which is rough in this current matchup. Oh, they're playing Drudagon. Interesting. Yeah, we really want to somehow get... Nihilego onto the bench. But Celesteela's ability is so powerful. I mean, I can kill them the fashionable way by just passing the turn, or I can attack with Electro House. It doesn't really make a difference. So let's go ahead and... I'm trying to think if there's any reason for me to retreat here. You know what I could do? Actually, look. God, Celesteela is really... Honestly, I second-guessed how powerful Celesteela's ability actually is. Especially when you have 2 in play. So what we can do here is pass, and they get knocked out to the poison. So when they go into their next threat here, we can just sponge some damage with Celesteela so that they're not damaging our Naganadel directly. They go into Drudagon, which is kind of okay, because now I can just retreat into Naganadel once again and get some poison on them, which is just, again, really, really powerful. Celesteela is just such a... Honestly, this deck feels like it's working really well together, especially given that Naganadel only requires 1 energy in order to attack, so... Yeah, we're going to get the poison on Drud, and then... I guess from there, the question is going to be whether we want to just knock it out next turn with Naganadel, which will leave Naganadel open to dying to the Golem, which, at the same time, that could happen anyway. Because they could just retreat, right? Okay. Guzma. Oh, that's a nice one. It only discards for my opponent, right? Yep. God, that's a strong card, too. All these cards are just so strong these days. There's so much power creep. I mean, it only drops the Golem to 160, but that can matter. Okay, now the question is... I'm actually going to start loading up one of the Celesteelas just as another means of doing damage. And if we ever do need to attack with the Guzzlord, we just put an energy on it the turn we need to attack with it. So I think there's... I was going to say I think there's no reason to not just finish them off here. But honestly, I'm going to play extremely safe. This could be a mistake. We're just like slow rolling it big time here. I don't know. Maybe that was a mistake. I just want to have the potential to get some poison on their Golem if we can. And we can just sit back against the Drud. I mean, I guess if they have some healing, that could be a nightmare for us. But we're just setting up as we go here. I'm going to hold on to this cape in case my opponent themselves has Guzma, and let's just go ahead and pass. And if they don't have any healing, Drudagon's dead. Plus, they're already fully set up on Golem, so it's not like they're gaining anything. Like, the fact that we keep passing turns, they're not setting up anything new here. Like, it's not like they're setting up any harder than they already have, if that makes any sense. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do here is go into my Celesteela and try to knock out Drudagon now. Because like I said, I do think Naganadel's valuable, just the ability to get some poison on Golem. But yeah, this deck feels really strong. Oh wow, they have Pyukumuku as well. What a weird deck. And I do mean that with at least some level of respect. Let's go ahead and retreat into Celesteela and try to get this knockout on Drud. Of course, I could wait a couple extra turns, but we'll just go ahead and do this now and just kind of force their hand, because that'll put us at 2 prizes. We don't get the heads. That's okay. That's okay. Because our other option was just sitting back. So it's, you know, we tried to knock them out in one go, and we didn't get there, but, you know, we're basically doing the same thing we would have otherwise, if that makes sense. Okay, that's a little awkward for me. I guess I did have the option to play the Cape, but like I also said, like I also said, if they have Guzma, that could be a disaster. I think I'm gonna go into Naga. Yeah, actually, I like going into Naga because now we can get Nihiligo on the bench. Of course, this does mean... Oh, shoot, I accidentally almost dragged the wrong card. That does mean that, what am I trying to say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought because I almost messed up there. Let's see. Well, with that Beastite, we can potentially do massive damage with the Guzzlord. Let's just go ahead and Lusamine onto the Celesteela. That's really strong as well. And then let's go ahead and put... I guess I'll put an energy on Nihiligo just so everything is like... Now everything is like 1 energy away from being set up. And Naganadel is going to die no matter what here. So let's go ahead and just attack. This is going to do 20 damage, I think. Oh, it only does 10, but they're going to take 20 from the poison. We still have not seen like a Pokemon Center lady. They very well could have it. Yeah, actually, this is... Things were looking really strong for us. Oh, they're retreating. Okay, I'm happy about that. I'll take it. Very annoying, though, they Lily. That's fine. So they do have some healing. Research, I'm not opposed to that. Let's see what we hit. Sabrina's not bad. Let's see. Very annoying with the Golem. Because now we don't have a way of poisoning them without taking damage ourselves. Maybe I just go right back into Celesteela. Or, well, we cannot Sabrina this turn. Something I could do... They only have 1 prize. I could Nihiligo... Because it's like fodder. Because almost no matter what we go into... Sorry, I'm just doing this quickly now. I feel like no matter what we go into, it's going to die the next turn anyway, except for Guzzlord, but I don't really want to expose Guzzlord to some damage. Wait, actually, do I win now? I think I might win now. Because we have Sabrina in hand. So unless they have another Drudagon, we should... I mean, even if they do have Drudagon, we can just Guzzlord. So I think we win the game. Which is beautiful, because this deck worked really powerfully. Like, just the ability to move your Pokemon around freely with Celesteela. It feels broken, honestly. Celesteela, I completely underrated Celesteela. I kind of thought it was, like, not that great looking. Mainly because I was looking at the attack. Like, it does 100 damage, which can be very good. But it could potentially miss. But yeah, this is really strong. Do we knock him out with Guzzlord, or do we knock them out with Style, with Naganadel? Because we could Sabrina into Pyukumuku. Yeah, we're gonna do it this way, right? I'm not missing anything, right? Right? I'm not missing anything. I have 0 cards left in my deck. That's funny. And we do have the second Nihiligo, which is extremely important. I do need to play that, otherwise we're not gonna... If I'm doing this wrong... Whatever, dude. We're trying to win the game in style here. Beautiful. Yeah. So we still got there. That, honestly, my opponent's deck was very annoying, and they played it decently well, just protecting that Golem. I like how both me and my opponent were kind of like trying to play the chess game of like protecting our biggest threats, moving them around when we had to. Yeah, that was great. That was a lot of fun, and that deck felt really, really powerful in that game. All right, let's try another one here. See how it goes. But yeah, Nihilego definitely caught my eye when I saw it in the new set. I wanted to try it with Weezing and Arbok, which of course, if you've been following the channel for a while now, you know that those are like 2 of my favorite cards in the game. I've been trying to make those work since the very, very beginning of the game, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. Nihilego does feel like it fits really well with those 2 cards. We're going second. I actually don't lose anything from just leading Poipole here, and then of course if my opponent leads with something scary, we can just retreat with Celesteela. Ooh, that is scary. Well, actually, I mean, we can do extra damage thanks to the weakness. So this could be interesting. But we get to play our luck against, you know, this deck, the presumably Darkrai Giratina deck. We only have 1 EX in our deck, so that's kind of an upside of our deck as well, is that we're not super fully loaded with EXs. I mean, there's pros and cons to playing decks that like only have EXs. Obviously, the cons are like it's easy to kill. Well, if you kill them, you just kind of do a lot of damage, or rather, you get a lot of points very quickly. But of course, the upside to that is that EXs are inherently very powerful. So there's Nihilego. That is a nice one. Although, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to poison just yet. But like I said, we are able to get some damage. We'll hold on to the Guzma for now. I mean, I could go with Guzma here. But let's just go ahead and do this. Nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, that's 60 damage right off the bat. Really, really powerful start. If we draw Naganadel, we can actually kill Giratina out of nowhere. Maybe I should have held on to the Nihilego, actually. Because if I had held on to it... Okay, well, never mind. It doesn't matter. I was going to say, if I had held on to Nihilego, they wouldn't know about it. And we could just kind of surprise them and just, you know, play it and just do a massive chunk of damage out of nowhere to them. Guzma puts him down to 120. We do draw it. Oh, wow. So Guzma puts them to puts Giratina effectively to 120. Naganadel's going to do 60, put him down to 60, and then they're going to take 20 damage. So we're not knocking them out this turn, but we are doing a lot of damage. Because of that, because we're not knocking them out this turn, I actually don't need to even... I don't even need to Guzma here. I can just hold on to that for now, because obviously the perfect situation with Guzma is my opponent plays a tool card on one of their other Pokemon, and we get to discard multiple tool cards. That would be the best. But my opponent could very well be aware of, like, Guzma, and they could be holding on to a tool card, potentially. Alright, they're healing. I mean, is that going to matter? Honestly, that is going to help them, unless we draw a second Nihilego, because I do believe Nihilego's ability stacks. Sabrina. Sabrina's a decent one as well. But I feel like if we Sabrina, they probably do have Leaf. I could move into Nihilego, which would do effectively 70 to Giratina. And then they knock me out. I think we start setting up Celesteela. Put an energy on that. And then, because I do plan on attacking with Naganadel here. Do we Sabrina, or do we just do a large chunk of damage? So again, that's effectively 70 damage to Giratina. We could actually put them dead to their own attack. But of course, in that case, Naganadel also dies. Let's do that. I don't know. While I'm at it, I think I will also... Is there any reason to Barb? No, there's not. Okay. Alright, just making sure I've done everything. So once again, unless they have more healing, which of course they're going to, because why wouldn't they? Unless they have more healing, they are dead to their own chaotic impact here. So they might be forced to retreat. They do have more healing. That's extremely annoying. Actually, no, they're still dead. They're still dead, because they take 20 from their attack, and then the poison damage knocks them out. Now, we can go into Actually, it kind of doesn't matter who I go into here because Celesteela allows me to kind of undo that. God, Celesteela is so good when you're playing nothing but Ultra Beasts. It's so powerful. So like if I realize I didn't want to go into Nihilego, I can just retreat, and if I like draw Lusamine, I can just load up Celesteela to attack here. I do draw Lusamine. Though I actually think I might... Let's see. I mean, they need Leaf, right? Do I protect Nihilego? Nihilego's very valuable here. Because of the poison. Like, the poison's extremely important. I could retreat and then go Lusamine and attack with Stela. Actually, yeah, I do that. So let's do this. Because like I said, I think Nihilego's really important with that poison, that extra poison damage. Let's go ahead and play Poipole just in case we draw Naganadel. We can evolve it once again. And then let's Lusamine here. I think I only put 1 energy. Yeah, I do, because I only had 1 in the discard pile, but that's fine, because now if we hit the heads, then, you know, we're close. Yeah, wow, okay. Now, unless they have more healing, we just put them in a position where they are very close to losing the game. Of course, they could have Leaf here and go into Darkrai and just do a massive amount of damage to Stela, but the funny thing is, if they have Leaf, they cannot use, like, Giovanni or stuff like that. Like, they can't do extra damage in that case, so they do have the Leaf. And if they attack me here, they're going to get poisoned as well, so... And then I think we're just 1 heads away from winning the game. Man, this deck is feeling really strong. I love it. And you don't even need any EXs. Like, I could completely take Buzzwole out, and the deck feels like it's functioning really well. If I'm being honest, and very sadly, this does feel like a... This does feel like a better version of, like, the Wheezing Arbok Poison deck. Which, I mean, it's fine, because it's sad because I love that deck, but it's fine because I'm also really loving this deck. But I actually realize right here I actually have the win. I go Sabrina, force them into Giratina, I retreat with Stela, go into Nihilego, put an extra energy on it, and then finish them off with the damage, so, yeah. Very, very good. I could have also, well, it's not worth it to take the risk, right? So, yeah, this deck is just beautiful. I love it. I mean, fun stuff. Very, very powerful, and I think you should try it too. And again, the beauty of this deck is I am literally playing 1 EX, but if you don't own Guzzlord, you actually could get away with not playing Guzzlord and actually just play, you know, all of these Pokemon that are not EXs and still have a really, really powerful deck. So there is the Ultra Beast Poison deck, and once again, this deck feels very, very powerful. It's a first draft of the deck, but it really feels like there's something here that's really powerful. So feel free to let me know in the comments what you would add to the deck. Of course, something that the deck is missing that it would benefit from is healing, like Potion or Pokemon Center Lady, etc. But what we have going on here just feels so powerful. Nihilego plus Naganadel is just really, really strong, and then Celesteela is, I mean, it's just so good. I can't glaze this deck enough, right? So let me know in the comments what you think, if there's any suggestions to make it better, how would you build this deck, and what are some decks that you are either playing right now that are doing well for you, or that even that you're playing that are not doing well for you, or decks that you really want to build but you do not have the cards for yet. Personally, I do want that second Guzzlord, and I also, of course, want some Buzzwoles. I don't have any copies of Buzzwole EX just yet, and I'm looking forward to that because it's a very powerful card. So, yeah, good luck to everyone. Let's get to some games for everyone. You know, good luck in the ranked season, and good luck with your pack openings. Let me know what you think. Leave a like. Please subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.